WBNW, 1120 AM and 102.9 FM, the Money Matters Radio Network. This is WBNW, 1120 AM, the Money Matters Radio Network. This is the Money Matters Radio Network, WBNW 1120 AM and W275CM FM, Concord, Boston, the Money Matters Radio Network.
This is Tucker Silva of the Financial Exchange, and I'm joined today by estate planning attorney Todd Lutzke from the law firm of Cushing & Dolan with a master's in taxation. And today we're talking about estate tax reduction and asset protection strategies that can help reduce or eliminate your estate taxes. Todd, there are some high net worth clients that would like to reduce the size of their estate, but they don't want to give up access to their assets. Is there anything they can do?
There actually is. Now, we talk about, doing estate tax planning, which I tell you should always do. So even higher net worth clients should put together their basic estate planning. I call that the foundation of their estate plan, of anyone's estate plan. And for higher net worths, to be using, revocable trust. There may be one or there may be two, but you want to put those together first. And that helps us shelter what we can. But to leverage your estate tax exemption that is going to be going down in 2026 to about, $6.5 million indexed for inflation, how do we use it? We can gift it. And if you gift it away, think about what you want to gift, but you can put it into another trust called a gifting trust, a spousal lifetime access trust that allows the spouses each other to enjoy what's in the other one's trust, but you've effectively given away the asset. So all that you've given away plus all the growth will be estate tax free moving forward, and it can even skip a generation from there. So planning is critically important.
The law firm of Cushing & Dolan has been helping families like yours for more than 30 years. Request your copy of Todd's brand new guide. It's called A Tale of Two Objectives, Reducing Estate Tax and Increasing Asset Protection right now by calling 866-848-5699. That's 866-848-5699. Or you can simply request it from their website, legalexchangeshow.com.
The proceeding was paid for and the views expressed are solely those of Cushing & Dolan. Cushing & Dolan and or Armstrong Advisory may contact you offering legal or investment services. Cushing & Armstrong do not endorse each other and are not affiliated.
You'll see a much more modest increase in the 3.2% range on those Social Security benefits.
Now, the other piece here is that most people collecting Social Security also have their Medicare Part B premiums taken out of those payments each month. What's happening on that front?
Yeah, that's correct. And, that was one of the real kind of strange things about 2023 is not only did we see very big cost of living adjustments, but Medicare premiums actually came down. Next year, we're reversing that trend. We're seeing Medicare premiums go from about $165 a month up to $175. And so that's going to be a further drag on those Social Security checks. The Medicare Part B one is a bit of a tricky subject, too, because those are income-based. If you're not familiar with IRMA, a good thing to familiarize yourself with, especially if you're selling a home or investment portfolio.
Our guide this month is titled The Key Numbers to Know for 2024, and it includes a discussion of these topics and more. There are two ways to request it. The first is by calling 800-393-4001. The second is by going to ArmstrongAdvisory.com. That phone number again is 800-393-4001.
The proceeding was paid for by Armstrong Advisory Group, a registered investment advisor. Nothing in the ad or in any Armstrong guide is specific financial, legal, or tax advice. Consult your own financial, tax, and estate planning advisors before making any investment decisions. Armstrong may contact you to offer investment advisory services.
Environmental nonprofit Ocean River Institute is working with communities to tackle climate change with nature-based solutions that feature slowing water down and building more soil with grasses and plants. Research indicates that people acting in their own neighborhoods can build an inch of soil in a year and slow sea level rise down by as much as 25%. Please visit oceanriver.org for more information on opportunities to make a difference and go the distance for savvy stewardship of a greener and bluer planet Earth.
The U.S. Virgin Islands is St. Croix, St. Thomas, and St. John. Visit one or all three and enjoy the vacation of a lifetime. Each island is special in its own unique way. So whether you want the heritage of St. Croix, the pristine beaches of St. Thomas, or the calm and relaxation of St. John, the U.S. Virgin Islands is one of the top vacation spots to visit in the Caribbean. You can expect perfect temperatures, a wide variety of water sports, world-class cuisine, and a vibrant nightlife. From the moment you arrive, you'll fall naturally in rhythm with the heartbeat of the islands. There's no money to exchange, and travel from New England could not be easier. Make your plans now by going to visitusvi.com. Learn about all 3 islands and plan the ideal vacation for you and your family. America's Caribbean paradise is waiting for you. So head to visitusvi.com for more information and to reserve your trip today. That's visitusvi.com. The Financial Exchange is produced by Money Matters Radio and is hosted by employees of the Armstrong Advisory Group, a registered investment advisor that provides investment advisory services. All opinions expressed are solely those of the hosts, do not reflect the opinions of Armstrong Advisory or anyone else, and do not guarantee profit. Investments can lose money. This program does not offer any specific financial or investment advice. Please consult your own financial, tax, and estate planning advisors before making any investment decisions. Armstrong and Money Matters Radio do not compensate each other for referrals and are not affiliated. This is the Financial Exchange with Chuck Zodda and Mike Armstrong. Your exclusive look at business and financial news affecting your day, your city, your world. Stay informed and up to date about economic and market trends, plus breaking business news every day. The Financial Exchange is a proud partner of the Disabled American Veterans Department of Massachusetts. Help us support our great American heroes by visiting DAV5K.Boston and making a donation today. The DAV 5K Boston is presented by Veterans Development Corporation. This is the Financial Exchange with Chuck Zodda and Mike Armstrong.
Only a couple days left in trading before we get to the Christmas holiday, and it's Chuck, Mike, and Tucker with you. And as many of you know, the colors typically associated with Christmas are red and green. Am I right, Mike?
Yeah, that's white. Maybe you can toss in there too.
Yeah, not this year. Not this year.
Yeah,
it is not going to be a white Christmas this year. It is going to be. Mike, I got.
It's a brown Christmas.
I got plants that are getting ready to bloom in my yard. Like I don't know what's going on here. It's all kinds of weird.
Trees everywhere and floods. That's
I got birds chirping, making nests. Like it's. We're a little off at the moment.
True.
But in any case, for pretty much all of December, hadn't been a whole lot of red in the stock market. A lot of green, not much red. Yesterday, just a little, little bunny foo-foo hopping through the forest, hitting all the investors, bopping them on the head. That's kind of what it was. It was like, hey, guys.
Santa Claus hit a speed bump doing 45. Didn't
just
really notice
remember that this thing doesn't always go up. So yesterday, you end up with a day where the S&P 500, which closed the previous day at 47.68, goes down 70 points to 46.98. Okay.
So we got to blame somebody.
We got to blame somebody, even though from a volatility perspective, it's not even a 2% drop. I mean, like these are not uncommon moves that you see in the S&P 500, and we got to blame someone. And who does Bloomberg pick to blame today?
Zero-day
option traders. So if you're not familiar with the concept, first let's talk about what a stock option is. A stock option represents the right for the holder of the option to either buy or sell a specific security on a specific day. And
in the future.
It can be in the future, or in the case of zero-day options, it can be that very day.
True, but still in the future, just a very short-term future.
Yes. And so the way these work is more often than not, it's not that someone actually wants the option to buy that specific thing. Almost no one actually takes delivery of said, underlying securities.
Although there have been some very funny mistakes in that space.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, what was the commodity one a couple of years ago where I think
someone accidentally took delivery of a whole bunch of oil, didn't they?
No, I thought it was cheese, or I thought it was some kind of food product.
It could have been, yeah.
But in any case, what most traders use these for is to speculate on positions because it allows you to employ a significant amount of leverage without actually having to go and borrow funds. And so one of the things that has developed over the last few years is the proliferation of different expiration dates for different kinds of options. If you go back 20, 30 years, pretty much, and again, this was, in the early days of derivatives, you really had monthly option expirations, and that was it. hey, here's the S&P 500 option for January of 24. It expires on, the 17th or the 19th or whatever day it is. It's usually the third Friday in the month. And, okay, this is, your chance to do this. Then you started seeing, hey, you know what? We want to roll out weekly options. And so it was every Friday now you had them available for certain securities. Then it was, hey, we're going to do maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And as companies figured out, hey, we can make more money off the degenerates by offering more products, you now have seen in many cases the availability of daily options. And if an option is expiring that day, it's typically referred to as a 0-day option, or you might see it as an acronym of 0 DTE is the way that it might be as well. 0 days to expiration.
Now, Chuck, let me ask you a question. Do you think that many investors out there have any sort of advantage on knowing which direction something like the S&P 500 is going to go on a day-to-day basis?
I think some people do, but not many.
Yeah, okay.
And I think that when we talk about 0-day options, the first thing that I think people need to understand is that options have what's called a decay in them. Because let's say, just as an example, that you were buying an option where yesterday is an example. Let's say that you had a call option, the right to buy the S&P 500 at 4,800. If the S&P 500 is not above 4,800 by close, that option expires worthless.
So at 3:30, if it ain't there,
you get nothing, basically.
Yeah.
And so that decay is an important feature here. And the reason why it's an important feature is because it also informs what market makers who actually transact the options for you, what they have to do. Just as an example, let's say that you go and you were to buy that call option for the S&P 500. So you say, okay, I'm betting that the S&P is going to go up. The market maker who sold you that option says, gee, I've now sold this, so I have a liability here if the S&P 500 goes up. And market makers, think of them just like bookmakers, okay, which is a topic that, strangely, we're all more familiar with. I don't know why. But think about it. The market maker does not want to be in a position where they take a huge directional loss because they were betting on an outcome. They want to make money on the spreads, but generally not have a huge directional loss because, again, they don't want to. That's not where they make their money.
That's not their job.
They're not betting on stocks. They're trying to make money on the spreads. So if they have a liability, if stocks go up, what they'll typically do in order to offset that is they'll buy some of that underlying, in this case the S&P 500, and they'll say, look, this way we're hedged in the event that, the S&P 500 goes up. Yes, we're going to have to pay out to, that option holder, but we've hedged it a little bit because we bought some of the underlying. That's what they typically end up doing.
If it goes up, we own it anyway, so we won't be hurt quite as badly.
Exactly. So what you do see on this sometimes, and again, this is not necessarily what happened yesterday, so this is why I don't like these pieces, is because it's pure. They're really just, oh, this happened, and here's a possible explanation for it, and no one actually knows. But here's what could have happened. Let's say that, again, let's say I bought this S&P 500 contract, and now instead of it going up, let's say that it goes down. The market maker's sitting there, and they're holding the S&P 500 as well. And they say, look, it's really unlikely that Chuck's bet is going to pay off right now. And there are all kinds of metrics we could talk about, but I'm not going to bore your face off. They say, look, it's really unlikely that Chuck's bet is going to pay off. We don't think we have as much liability anymore, so we're going to start liquidating some of our S&P 500 because we don't need to hold as much to hedge that potential liability.
Because the S&P 500 is down, we need to sell our S&P 500 holdings, is what the market maker is saying.
Yes, and so what the market maker does then is sells a little bit, which in turn pushes the S&P 500 down more, which then can push more options further out of the money, which causes more selling, and so you get, a little bit of a carry-on effect. It's something that in very volatile markets can absolutely exacerbate moves. I'm not sure that a 1.5%, 1.6% move on a random Wednesday in December
was caused entirely by a single options product.
It just strikes me as, hey, maybe the market had rallied 16% in the last 36 trading days. maybe things were a little bit extended, we got a little bit of a pullback, and this is completely normal volatility.
Yeah. I can simultaneously think that this is a dumb investment thesis for the majority of investors, and that it also might not be a bad thing for markets or participants or for the constructs of the market in general. Like, I
actually
personally would have a tough time employing such a strategy, but I don't think it should be banned, and I don't know that we can really attribute any of the market moves to one issue like this.
I don't have a huge problem with it, actually, because I think that while it's often like thrown out there as, oh, it's just like retail idiots speculating on what the stocks are going to do today, what you actually see and what you hear from a lot of big books and market makers and everyone else is, no, this actually lets us hedge our exposure more easily. And so it's actually just a lot of hedging that's going on, I think, in a lot of cases. Yes, you do have people that are like, oh, I think the market's going to go up today, let me buy this.
Yep.
But it's not just that, and there is a legitimate business purpose behind having these as well. So I do like to put that out there. It's not just companies saying, hey, let's put this product out and try to make a bunch of money off retail traders. That's part of it, obviously, because as I talk about quite often, the real money in trading investments is made in the flow, not in the price. But it's also something where part of trading that flow and making money off it is being able to hedge your own book, and this gives market makers the ability to do that as well instead of having to go out and buy, just the S&P 500. You could actually hedge an options trade with another options trade if you want to. It's turtles all the way down. Let's take a quick break here. When we come back, we'll talk about whether or not Santa's bringing trash for Christmas.
This is your home for the most comprehensive coverage of the economy and the trends on Wall Street. This is the Financial Exchange Radio Network. The U.S. Virgin Islands is St. Croix, St. Thomas, and St. John. Visit one or all three and enjoy the vacation of a lifetime. Each island is special in its own unique way. So whether you want the heritage of St. Croix, the pristine beaches of St. Thomas, or the calm and relaxation of St. John, the U.S. Virgin Islands is one of the top vacation spots to visit in the Caribbean. You can expect perfect temperatures, a wide variety of water sports, world-class cuisine, and a vibrant nightlife. From the moment you arrive, you'll fall naturally in rhythm with the heartbeat of the islands. There's no money to exchange, and travel from New England could not be easier. Make your plans now by going to visitusvi.com. Learn about all three islands and plan the ideal vacation for you and your family. America's Caribbean paradise is waiting for you. So head to visitusvi.com for more information and to reserve your trip today. That's visitusvi.com.
Building a solid financial strategy is a core element to enjoying your retirement years. That's why you need advice that you can count on. At the Armstrong Advisory Group, we understand the challenges of positioning your assets to help you maintain your wealth over time. Our goal is to offer advice that is both suitable and in your best interest. When you hire one of us, you hire all of us so you can be comfortable knowing that every advisor in our firm is dedicated to helping you create a realistic plan for your later years. Visit us today at armstrongadvisory.com and sign up for a free, no-obligation planning session. Click the Get Started button at the top right corner of the homepage, and you can select the day and time that works best for you. Go to armstrongadvisory.com and let us help you secure your financial future. That's armstrongadvisory.com.
The proceeding was paid for by Armstrong Advisory Group, a registered investment advisor. Nothing in the ad or in any Armstrong guide is specific financial, legal, or tax advice. Consult your own financial, tax, and estate planning advisors before making any investment decisions. Armstrong may contact you to offer investment advisory services. Early estate planning is crucial if you want to avoid massive tax consequences and protect your assets. Cushing & Dolan are experts in estate planning and taxation, and their new free guide can help you do just that. It's called A Tale of Two Objectives, Reducing Estate Taxes and Increasing Asset Protection. In it, you'll learn how to keep your assets away from the nursing home while reducing and potentially eliminating your estate taxes. You've worked hard to provide for your family. So if you haven't done your planning yet, call Cushing & Dolan today at 866-848-5699 and get this free guide called The Tale of Two Objectives, Reducing Estate Taxes and Increasing Asset Protection. That's 866-848-5699. Or you can request your copy online from our website, LegalExchangeShow.com. That's LegalExchangeShow.com. The proceeding was paid for and the views expressed are solely those of Cushing & Dolan. Cushing & Dolan and or Armstrong Advisory may contact you offering legal or investment services. Cushing & Dolan and Armstrong Advisory do not endorse each other and are not affiliated. Veterans Development Corporation is a proud partner of the DAV 5K Boston. Let's meet their CEO, Mark Vonner.
I'm no stranger to the military community. My late uncle, Albert Vonner, served proudly in the 1st Marine Division in World War II and gave the ultimate sacrifice for his country. I am surrounded by a family of disabled veterans, including my father, Victor, and brother, Timothy. I am a veteran, and I have dedicated my business and my life to helping veterans. My company, Veterans Development Corporation, works to help disabled veterans every day, and it's one of the key reasons why I'm such a big supporter of Dan Stack and the Disabled American Veterans Department of Massachusetts. I am so thrilled to be proudly partnered with this year's DAV 5K.
Veterans Development Corporation is proudly partnered with the Disabled American Veterans Department of Massachusetts and the presenting sponsor of the DAV 5K Boston. If you'd like to help our great American heroes by making a donation, visit dav5k.boston. Miss any of the show? You can catch up at your convenience by visiting financialexchangeshow.com and clicking the on-demand icon, where you'll find all of our interviews and full shows. This is your home for the latest business and financial news in New England and around the country. This is the Financial Exchange Radio Network.
Mike, is Santa going to be bringing investors trash for Christmas?
I sure hope not. I've got this image of Santa just emptying his sack full of rotting banana peels onto my kitchen floor.
Here's a half-eaten string cheese for you, retail investor.
So,
here's a turkey carcass for you. You haven't been very good this year.
The answer is only time will tell, but there are certainly a few things going on that haven't really been widely reported on in markets that I think are maybe important to bring to the attention of listeners here. For instance, the Wall Street Journal points out here that shares in Reddit darling GameStop have gained 29% since the current rally at the end of October. Carvana, weren't they going bankrupt, or did I? No, they warned of bankruptcy, I think. They're up almost 94% during that same time period. And in fact, the 20 most shorted U.S. stocks, as identified by S3 Partners at the end of September, have risen 17%, which is outpacing the S&P 500. So I don't know that is such a significant outpace of the S&P 500, but there's a few of those in there that might be considered delivering trash for Christmas.
So I think that when you look at this, I'm trying to figure out the best way to say this, because some of the things that we are seeing, obviously you're getting a little, bubblicious in some kind of dumb stuff, as you mentioned, GameStop, Carvana, those kinds of things. But there's also a case that, look, a lot of the S&P 500 didn't do particularly well this year because earnings didn't do particularly well. If it now appears that we may not be heading into recession in the first half of next year and earnings may grow, then you'd expect the rest of the S&P 500 to do better versus, the Magnificent Seven that dominated the first 10 months of the year in terms of their performance in the index.
Yeah. So, look, rising tide sometimes lifts all boats. It's a healthy thing to see the, performance expand a little bit to other players that have not been doing terribly well. But, there might be some garbage that's getting mixed in with that rising tide.
Warner and Paramount CEOs have discussed a merger of the two companies. Mike, I had an interesting thought yesterday when I read this the first time.
What are they going to call it?
No.
Oh.
Well, that's part of it. Are they going to call it could it be, Max Plus?
That's a good idea.
that it's we're do two ups make a down? Max Plus, here's where I was actually going to go with this. By the time all of the consolidation is done in the streaming wars, we're going to end up with 3 networks just like we had in the 1950s.
Yeah, we are getting closer and closer to that. It certainly seems like it. Let's see. So let's
hear me out.
Okay.
Amazon could be one of them, and they could call themselves like the Amazon Broadcasting Company or ABC. Netflix could be one of them, and they could call themselves the Netflix Broadcasting Company or NBC.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying, like, you can make this work, and then we don't really have one for CBS.
Yeah.
Cinemax.
What's that?
Who owns Cinemax?
Max.
Well, no. Who
HBO.
owns it now,
HBO
actually?
owns Cinemax?
Does HBO own it?
Who the hell knows? Can't keep track of all this stuff anymore. It's
So
ridiculous.
what's the most valuable Paramount asset? You've got MTV, Nickelodeon, Comedy Central, probably CBS because it has the NFL, right?
Well, CBS. So I think if you're talking the most valuable stuff right now, it's probably all the Yellowstone content in that whole universe.
Yeah, I guess so.
I would guess that's where it is. I don't know what CBS, what value. I don't know how to value a conventional broadcast network at this point like CBS.
Yeah.
Like, yes, they have the Super Bowl every 4 years, but
I'm just trying to think of which way you could very stupidly change the name of Paramount Plus to something else. Since HBO Max went to just Max, what could Paramount change it? Just Mount would be their new.
well, no.
streaming
If you're
service.
merging these, I think wouldn't it be
Max
Max
Mount?
Plus? Wouldn't it be Max Plus?
Paramount Plus plus Max, I guess. Paramax.
So they're exploring a deal, huh?
Yeah, they're talking about doing a deal. No one seems particularly excited about it. Warner Brothers Discovery stock was down 5.7%, and Paramount stock was down 2%. So investors are like, you guys aren't really doing much on your own, but we really don't want you to merge.
Plus, you might have antitrust concerns, or FCC concerns. Who knows? These two companies together don't look any more. I guess the only argument you can maybe make is they can weather the storm a little bit better together if there's a storm coming for streaming.
It's kind of fascinating how much the streaming business has actually just been awful for legacy media companies. None of them are making money on it, which is kind of hard to believe.
Yeah.
But they all priced their products so badly to begin with. They all, I think, overestimated demand quite dramatically. And they finally are realizing, gee, it's not the content. Like, people just don't want to pay that much for your content.
Well, and
they're happy to watch ads instead.
They did it to themselves to an extent.
I know.
Too. Like, you didn't need to roll out these products necessarily, and you certainly didn't need to sell your content to Netflix.
Well, that was
right?
that was the
That
biggest
was the big
mistake.
mistake,
Was
right? Like, hey, let's
starting
give
in 2010. They just shouldn't have done that.
Like, let's give Netflix all of our most valuable shows that everyone wants to binge all the time instead of us getting that revenue.
Yeah, that was kind of a dumb move in hindsight.
Hey, want Friends, want The Office, some of the best shows that were ever aired on broadcast television for a small nominal fee when that's all that people will watch on your platforms? Bad idea.
Yeah,
Bad idea.
It kind of makes you wonder what they're good at now.
Creating reality shows?
Netflix does that too.
Yeah, you do have to ask yourself what you're better at than anybody else.
And the piece that I come back, like, their ad sales departments are really good, but they devalued them with streaming.
Yeah, I was going to say, so they're probably better at advertising sales than
Yeah.
Netflix or Disney is.
Yeah, they're really good on that side. Let's be honest there.
Yeah.
But the whole move to streaming was, we don't want, like, no one wants ads with streaming. Like, the benefit, and now they've realized, we can't do this, and so we're throwing a whole bunch of ads onto the streaming platforms.
Ay.
It's it hasn't been great for them, to say the least. So there's that. Let's take a quick break. Wall Street Watch is next, and then we're talking EVs.
Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter @TFE Show. Breaking business news is always first, right here on the Financial Exchange Radio Network. Veterans Development Corporation is a proud partner of the DAV 5K Boston. Let's meet their CEO, Mark Vonner.
I enlisted in the Marine Corps when I was 18 years old, joining a long line of family members who also served our country. After my service, I connected with the VA healthcare systems, where I attended meetings with disabled veterans and learned for the first time about the DAV. I was so impressed with the work they do to help millions of veterans, including providing necessary services like transportation, education, and financial opportunities. Today, I stand a proud partner of the DAV and the 2023 DAV 5K. My company, Veterans Development Corporation, is a general contracting firm working with many disabled veterans, and I hope that by sharing my story, many other disabled veterans will be able to reach their goals once they conclude their service.
Veterans Development Corporation is proudly partnered with the Disabled American Veterans Department of Massachusetts and the presenting sponsor of the DAV 5K Boston. If you'd like to help our great American heroes by making a donation, visit DAV5K.Boston. The U.S. Virgin Islands is St. Croix, St. Thomas, and St. John. Visit one or all three and enjoy the vacation of a lifetime. Each island is special in its own unique way. So whether you want the heritage of St. Croix, the pristine beaches of St. Thomas, or the calm and relaxation of St. John, the U.S. Virgin Islands is one of the top vacation spots to visit in the Caribbean. You can expect perfect temperatures, a wide variety of water sports, world-class cuisine, and a vibrant nightlife. From the moment you arrive, you'll fall naturally in rhythm with the heartbeat of the islands. There's no money to exchange, and travel from New England could not be easier. Make your plans now by going to visitusvi.com. Learn about all three islands and plan the ideal vacation for you and your family. America's Caribbean paradise is waiting for you. So head to visitusvi.com for more information and to reserve your trip today. That's visitusvi.com.
Hey, listen, are you a 50-year-old person looking for term life insurance? Then you need to talk to Bob. Bob specializes in helping people find $1 million or more of term life insurance for a couple of $100 a month. Look, you need to know there's a price war in the term life insurance business, and you may be paying too much. Call Bob, and he'll shop and see how much money he can save you. Look, this could be the last term life insurance policy you ever have. Your rates are guaranteed for the next 20 years. That's right, guaranteed level rates for the next 20 years. And if you're a smoker or your health is not perfect, Bob has great rates for you too. So for $1 million of term life insurance coverage for a couple of $100 a month, call Bob right now. 800-965-7987. 800-965-7987. 800-965-7987. That's 800-965-7987. Paid for by Term Direct.
This is Tucker Silva of the Financial Exchange, and I'm joined today by estate planning attorney Todd Lutzke from the law firm of Cushing & Dolan with a master's in taxation. And today we're talking about estate tax reduction and asset protection strategies that can help reduce or eliminate your estate taxes. Todd, there have been major changes with the Massachusetts exemption amounts this year. What is the new exemption for Massachusetts? And does that mean that a married couple living in Mass with $4 million in assets could eliminate their estate taxes?
Well, that is true. But let me expand on it a little bit. There is good news. Massachusetts' estate tax exemption has been increased from $1 million per person to $2 million per person, which in essence is great news because now with planning, and remember folks, with planning, a married couple can effectively shelter $4 million from estate taxes, whereas before, with planning, you could only shelter $2 million from estate taxes. But remember, if you don't do your planning and you don't have a trust in place, you will end up wasting one of those exemptions. And so by not planning now, although the exemption went up, which is good news, by not planning, it's twice as costly for people if they don't get their trust done and their planning done. You're just making a much bigger gift to the state of Massachusetts by not doing your planning.
The law firm of Cushing & Dolan has been helping families like yours for more than 30 years. Request your copy of Todd's brand new guide. It's called A Tale of Two Objectives, Reducing Estate Tax and Increasing Asset Protection, right now by calling 866-848-5699. That's 866-848-5699, or you can request it from their website, legalexchangeshow.com.
The proceeding was paid for, and the views expressed are solely those of Cushing & Dolan. Cushing & Dolan and or Armstrong Advisory may contact you offering legal or investment services. Cushing & Armstrong do not endorse each other and are not affiliated. Time now for Wall Street Watch, a complete look at what's moving markets so far today, right here on the Financial Exchange Radio Network.
Markets are bouncing back following yesterday's surprising afternoon sell-off as investors ready for tomorrow morning's core PCE inflation reading. Right now, the Dow is up by 0.2% or 235 points. The S&P 500 is up 0.75% or 35 points. And the Nasdaq up over 0.75% or 126 points. Russell 2000 is up over 1.33% as well. 10-year Treasury yield, that is off by 1 basis point, now at 3.86%. And crude oil down by just under 1%, trading at $75.53 a barrel. Micron Technology shares are jumping by nearly 7% after the chipmaker provided a stronger than expected outlook for the current quarter, boosted by demand for chips used to support AI. Micron also beat earnings and revenue expectations for its most recent quarter, where it generated $4.73 billion in revenue. Meanwhile, according to trade publication The Air Current, China's aviation regulator granted Boeing clearance to resume deliveries of its 737 MAX aircraft to the country. Separately, Reuters reported that Boeing is ready to restart deliveries of its 737 Dreamliner to a privately owned Chinese carrier within days. Boeing stock is up by 0.2%. Elsewhere, CarMax shares are climbing 7% after the used car retailer posted earnings that beat street forecasts ahead of the open this morning, where earnings per share came in at 52 cents versus estimates of 42 cents. The company also announced it would resume its share repurchase program. And BlackBerry shares down by 12% after the cybersecurity company provided fourth quarter revenue guidance that came in lower than expectations. However, the company did beat on both revenue and earnings for the third quarter. I'm Tucker Silva, and that's Wall Street Watch.
Mike, the Biden administration, according to the Wall Street Journal, and this is an exclusive that they have, did you notice that they changed the color for the exclusive tag on their pages?
No, what is it? I'm in black and white here.
It's black now. It used to be red, which made it stand out, and now you kind of have to hunt for it. So, in a Wall Street Journal exclusive, Biden administration is exploring raising tariffs on Chinese EVs. Couple questions on this, Mike.
Have they collected any tariff revenue on Chinese imported EVs to this point? My first question is whether or not the U.S. government has collected any tariff revenue on imported Chinese electric vehicles to this stage.
I think it's kind of a preventive measure, but yeah. In terms of this, do you think the Biden administration is actually serious about doing this?
Let's see. Yeah, I think they may, in fact, go ahead and do this.
Why do you think they're talking about it now?
To look tough ahead of elections.
Yes. Now, it doesn't mean it's the wrong thing to do inherently.
Sure.
It, in fact, may be the right thing to like when I think about things that I really would prefer to avoid, it's getting into a Chinese-made EV with a GPS in it.
I was just taking a look at this to figure out, like, okay, 25% tariff is obviously huge, but what is the most popular Chinese electric vehicle? And I'm going to completely butcher this, so have fun, everybody. But it's the Wuling Hongguang mini electric vehicle. It is pretty small. It's mainly designed for cities. It has, let's see, what's the battery range? 170 kilometers of range, and I think that's for an updated battery, an upgraded battery. But all in, your price is looking at, with that upgraded range, between $500 and $7,500 US.
Yeah, the ones that I know they're talking about importing, NIO has a couple. I think it's the EL 5 or 6. I forget what number it is. And I think those go for somewhere in the ballpark of like $30,000 in China.
$30,000?
The equivalent.
Yeah. See, that's not terribly compelling to me, right? If I'm going to buy a Chinese EV, which I'm not going to, but if I'm going to be tempted, it basically needs to be a Nissan Leaf that's half the price.
So I think that this may or may not end up happening, but part of this I'm also looking at in the background of you've had a number of high-level meetings between U.S. and Chinese officials in recent months, and this I also think is a message sent publicly through the Wall Street Journal of, hey, we're not going to roll over and just give you everything that you want. We actually may escalate, against you a little bit. So I think it's somewhat message sending as well. The big thing that I think you can come away from with the Biden administration on China, they haven't really changed much in terms of the Trump era policies. There hasn't been much that has been shifted there. The Trump tariffs are still in place. Those have not changed. You've seen a little bit in terms of semiconductor and tech export. Companies are finding ways around that, as they always do. But by and large, you haven't really seen much change from Trump-era policies when it comes to the Biden administration in China. They've pretty much maintained the ones that were there previously and not added a ton of new ones.
When we talk about vehicles, so we've kind of talked about a lot of products that we maybe slap tariffs on, maybe don't. When it comes to products coming from China. And semiconductors is one of those that we've said absolutely national security concern, subsidize the U.S. industry to be able to compete and don't touch anything that's coming out of China. Okay. Where do batteries and vehicles stand on that same front? I mean, if I'm General Motors, I think that I have a pretty reasonable case in court to say that these are Chinese government-run companies that are being subsidized, and so maybe I have a bit of a bone to pick in terms of just the fairness of everything. But I have a tougher time making a national security argument when it comes to battery technology.
If it's batteries and solar panels and this and that, look, if China wants to sell them to you at below market rates, buy the heck out of them. If it's a vehicle that has a GPS unit in it where the Chinese parent company is legally required to report that information to the Chinese military if asked domestically, honestly, I'm not sure that I would allow the import of Chinese-made devices that have GPS technology, like across the board.
Wait till you hear about this app called TikTok.
Yes. So, these are the things where I don't know if you want to allow that just broadly, quite honestly. Not even tariff or not tariff. I don't know. That's kind of a threat in my opinion.
Yeah, we've look. If I've made that same compelling argument for TikTok, and I feel that way pretty strongly that the Chinese Communist Party has no business tracking individuals' geolocations and habits and everything that Facebook can get on you, then I think you have to be consistent in that argument, and I tend to agree with you. But on the other things, the main reason that I can buy a $150 flat screen TV being that China decides to subsidize them, all on board. Loaded in.
Actually, I don't know that a lot of those are made in China.
Really?
I would imagine
a lot of Korean-made TVs.
I think the bulk are probably Korean-made. When you talk about LG and Samsung, I think those are the two biggest names out there.
Yeah.
I wonder where TCLs are made.
I was literally just looking that up because that's the most popular, affordable brand of TV right now.
TCLs are in China.
There you go.
Yep. So there's that. Let's see. Massachusetts deciding to kick off their EV charging program. They are going to be handing out $60 million in funding for the National Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Program, also known as NEVI or NEVI. NEVI?
Let's go NEVI. I like that
NEVI?
better. Like Levi.
Yeah, it's like jeans for your car. And so they are scouting out locations on Route 2, Interstate 91, 495, and a portion of 195 near Fall River. And I'm curious, I guess. There are some other highways that are left off, most notably the Mass Pike, which covers the whole state east to west. I'm just wondering why that might be left off.
Well, I'm wondering if some of these major thoroughfares are already covered by Tesla's infrastructure, which they have agreed to. Has that gone into place? Can I charge a non-Tesla on Tesla's infrastructure now?
Well, you've always been able to with an adapter, I believe. Actually, no. Sorry, you could go the other way.
Yeah.
I know some of the.
I remember the automakers agreeing to this in principle.
I think it's next year that most of those start.
So that could be the reason, because I think a lot of those service plazas that I stop at along either 128 or I-90 have the infrastructure already pre-built. So if it's not already there, it might already be planned along some of the major thoroughfares.
Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about the latest from the Red Sea and potential shipping disruptions, and then the latest IPO darling from the pandemic to go belly up.
Find daily interviews and full shows of the Financial Exchange on our YouTube page. Get caught up on anything and everything you might have missed. This is the Financial Exchange Radio Network.
Hi, this is Mike Armstrong from the Armstrong Advisory Group. As another new year approaches, we've put together a brand new free guide that will walk you through the key numbers you'll need to know for 2024, especially from a tax standpoint. This guide outlines the marginal tax brackets for both married couples and single individuals, and it includes details about the new standard deduction, information that will be pivotal for your financial planning strategy. We also explore other areas like Medicare Part B premiums and all the ways your Social Security benefits are taxed. Call us today at 800-393-4001 and request your free guide. The year may be ending, but it's not the time to put your financial needs on hold. Call us at 800-393-4001 to get your guide or request it online from our website, armstrongadvisory.com.
The proceeding was paid for by Armstrong Advisory Group, a registered investment advisor. Nothing in the ad or in any Armstrong guide is specific financial, legal, or tax advice. Consult your own financial, tax, and estate planning advisors before making any investment decisions. Armstrong may contact you to offer investment advisory services. The U.S. Virgin Islands is St. Croix, St. Thomas, and St. John. Visit one or all three and enjoy the vacation of a lifetime. Each island is special in its own unique way. So whether you want the heritage of St. Croix, the pristine beaches of St. Thomas, or the calm and relaxation of St. John, the U.S. Virgin Islands is one of the top vacation spots to visit in the Caribbean. You can expect perfect temperatures, a wide variety of water sports, world-class cuisine, and a vibrant nightlife. From the moment you arrive, you'll fall naturally in rhythm with the heartbeat of the islands. There's no money to exchange, and travel from New England could not be easier. Make your plans now by going to visitusvi.com. Learn about all three islands and plan the ideal vacation for you and your family. America's Caribbean paradise is waiting for you. So head to visitusvi.com for more information and to reserve your trip today. That's visitusvi.com. Veterans Development Corporation is a proud partner of the DAV 5K Boston. Let's meet their CEO, Mark Vonner.
I served proudly in the Marine Corps from 1981 to 1984 and was honored to receive the U.S. Marine Corps Expeditionary Medal, one of the oldest decorations still issued to active duty personnel. I started Veterans Development Corporation to give back to the veteran community. Many of my employees are former veterans, and it is my distinct pleasure to work with them each and every day. This is why I'm so excited to be partnering with the Disabled American Veterans Department of Massachusetts on this year's DAV 5K. If not for the DAV, many of our disabled veterans would not have access to critical services that they need to live comfortably. I hope that by telling my story, many more of our veterans will achieve their goals and dreams post-service.
Veterans Development Corporation is proudly partnered with the Disabled American Veterans Department of Massachusetts and the presenting sponsor of the DAV 5K Boston. If you'd like to help our great American heroes by making a donation, visit dav5k.boston. Early estate planning is crucial if you want to avoid massive tax consequences and protect your assets. Cushing & Dolan are experts in estate planning and taxation, and their new free guide can help you do just that. It's called A Tale of Two Objectives, Reducing Estate Taxes and Increasing Asset Protection. In it, you'll learn how to keep your assets away from the nursing home while reducing and potentially eliminating your estate taxes. You've worked hard to provide for your family. So if you haven't done your planning yet, call Cushing & Dolan today at 866-848-5699 and get this free guide called The Tale of Two Objectives, Reducing Estate Taxes and Increasing Asset Protection. That's 866-848-5699. Or you can request your copy online from our website, LegalExchangeShow.com. That's LegalExchangeShow.com. The proceeding was paid for and the views expressed are solely those of Cushing & Dolan. Cushing & Dolan and or Armstrong Advisory may contact you offering legal or investment services. Cushing & Dolan and Armstrong Advisory do not endorse each other and are not affiliated. The Financial Exchange has a brand new text code. Text us at 617-362-1385 and keep on top of breaking business news all day long. This is the Financial Exchange Radio Network.
Yesterday, we talked a little bit about the escalations that we've seen in the Red Sea that have led most major shippers to start sending boats around the Cape of Good Hope as opposed to up through the Red Sea and through the Suez Canal.
Oh, God. Load up on the toilet paper.
Nah.
Stock up.
No.
start that.
No. Let's stop being freaking stupid with this. Okay? Here's the thing. Going from Singapore to Rotterdam, the biggest port in pretty much the two biggest ports in the world outside of China, it takes 9 days longer. It's a one-time impact. A one-time impact that potentially you end up with, okay, a 9-day period where stuff takes a little bit longer to get there.
Guys.
And then once everyone's on the same schedule, it's fine. So don't go out and buy a bunch of stuff because you're nervous about stores being out of it, because you will cause the shortage if you do so.
All I'm saying is I just need 10 minutes. I'll be back.
IKEA saying that products will be delayed by a week or two, again, as a result of this.
Fortunately, if you ever walk into an IKEA, you will never notice the fact that there's a shortage of any products, because that is the single biggest store that I've ever been into.
So you've had about $80 billion worth in cargo that has been diverted. The U.S. and other allies are still putting together basically a larger armada to patrol the Red Sea on a regular basis. The big thing that you're going to see here is I don't think there's going to be much in the way of product disruptions after the first week or so, just because, again, once you get all of the ships running the longer route, it's just, hey, this is, how long it takes, and companies plan around it. I think that the piece that you do need to be aware of is the cost of insuring these vessels against, anything happening while at sea is going to go up, and that's going to put some pressure on margins. It's going to put some pressure on prices, and so maybe you see a little bit of a spillover there. But, again, the piece that I come back to is the Red Sea only handles about 10-11% of all maritime traffic, cargo traffic in the world. It's not like this is affecting every single thing that is shipped. So, yes, there will be some knock-on effects, but stuff that's being shipped from China or Singapore to the direct to the U.S. to the West Coast, it doesn't go that way anyways.
Yeah,
it doesn't go that way. They go through the Pacific Ocean because it's shorter.
This is unlikely to be a serious problem, but this combined with something else that could happen certainly could see some shortages out there, I suppose. There's been talk all year about drought conditions in the Panama Canal and how that's led to some choke points and supply problems there as well. So who's to say? But yeah, this doesn't seem like it's going to be the supply chain crunch that we saw in 2020.
The real disappointing thing here, in my opinion,
nothing got stuck in the Suez Canal.
Yeah, it lowers the chance of something getting stuck in the Suez Canal.
Yeah.
Fewer ships mean fewer ships running aground.
True. Very true.
And that's something that
gift that kept on giving.
That we'll miss that.
The U.S. Virgin Islands is St. Croix, St. Thomas, and St. John. Visit one or all three and enjoy the vacation of a lifetime. Each island is special in its own unique way, so whether you want the heritage of St. Croix, the pristine beaches of St. Thomas, or the calm and relaxation of St. John, the U.S. Virgin Islands is one of the top vacation spots to visit in the Caribbean. You can expect perfect temperatures, a wide variety of water sports, world-class cuisine, and a vibrant nightlife. From the moment you arrive, you'll fall naturally in rhythm with the heartbeat of the islands. There's no money to exchange, and travel from New England could not be easier. Make your plans now by going to visitusvi.com. Learn about all three islands and plan the ideal vacation for you and your family. America's Caribbean Paradise is waiting for you, so head to visitusvi.com for more information and to reserve your trip today. That's visitusvi.com.
Mike, you ever use one of those scooter rental companies?
I have. Many a time. Not
Which
in Boston.
one did you use?
At one point I used an Uber, but I believe I have used Bird. I think I actually used their bicycles when they were briefly in the Boston area. But yeah, all the same to me. But I believe I have used Bird e-scooters at least once.
Yeah, I definitely used Bird in Austin when I was away.
Yeah, that is just a death trap waiting to happen.
Oh, we were at a bachelor party, and the
city's just full of drunken idiots on electric scooters.
Like we just arrived, and we were going to get lunch, to get the weekend going. And one of our guys there ate, you know what, Didn't even have any alcohol or anything in his system, and he got pretty messed up.
Scrapes all over his face.
It was a bad start to the weekend.
Yeah.
The other problem that a lot of these companies ran into with the scooters was, again, a bunch of drunken idiots would ride the scooter somewhere, usually where everyone was trying to go that night, and then you just end up with this giant pile of scooters.
Yeah. Yep.
That combination of things, half the time you couldn't even untangle them. So it was like, okay, how do we even get a scooter out of this pile? And cities were sitting there going, guys,
get this garbage off of our streets.
There are 200 scooters outside of, whatever bar people go to in Austin. This is not going to work. But Bird going out of business here, filing for bankruptcy. I'm just not sure that a standalone scooter rental company can really survive. It's
talk about a capital-intensive business, right? Like we criticize companies like Hertz and others who have had a really tough time. Who went bankrupt during the pandemic? Was it Hertz?
Hertz.
Yeah. Like hugely capital-intensive business, but at least you have a pretty decent revenue and you built yourself into institutions like airports. If you're a Bird scooter rental company, like half your products are ending up in the East River. Just poor planning, high capital, and
it's a good idea. It's just not going to work out.
I'm not sure it's a good idea. I am not sure the idea of just readily accessible scooters sitting on sidewalks attached to GPS apps is a great business model.
Mike, let me ask you this. How is it different from those bike share services that have been successful in the last couple of years?
Those have negotiated space with cities. They have built themselves into the infrastructure of the cities rather than just winging it.
By the way, when we're talking about companies that, this business model shouldn't survive, you know what company I was shocked earlier this week to find out is still alive?
Please.
Oh, let me guess. Blue Apron.
No, similar genre, similar era. Groupon.
Okay.
Groupon still exists?
Groupon still exists.
What restaurant is still promoting their business through Groupon? What a terrible idea.
Now, it still exists, but the stock is currently 97% off its all-time high.
Is that bad?
Well, it's been worse. It was 99.5% off in May.
Oh.
So there's that. But yeah, Groupon still exists. That should be their new slogan. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, more Financial Exchange.
Hi, this is Chuck and Mike from the Armstrong Advisory Group, and we've got a new guide available this month titled The Key Numbers to Know for 2024. Mike, when it comes to how much someone can contribute to a 401k plan or 403b plan next year, what do those contribution limits look like?
Yeah, so you're getting a slight uptick from 2023, where it was sitting at $22,500. You're now going to be up to $23,000 for those 401k contributions. And in addition, if you're over the age of 50, you're going to get an extra $7,500 that you can potentially put in there. All of that is before any sort of employer contribution or match. So you're now getting up to $30,500 in total if you're over the age of 50.
Mike, what about for folks who don't have access to an employer-based plan but instead need to contribute to an IRA or traditional IRA?
Yeah, so that's where those limits are much, much lower. So this coming year in 2024, you're looking at a $7,000 contribution limit for traditional and Roth IRAs. There are all sorts of rules around this in terms of income phase-outs, who can contribute, if you're employer-sponsored or not, if your spouse is employer-sponsored or not. So there are some tricky pieces here. There is also a completely different set of rules and limits when it comes to self-employed individuals. So definitely other things to know if you maybe own your own business and have a SEP IRA.
Our guide this month is titled The Key Numbers to Know for 2024, and it talks about some of the many changes happening when it comes to contribution limits, cost of living adjustments, and other numbers. 2 ways to request it. The first is by calling 800-393-4001. The second is by visiting ArmstrongAdvisory.com. That number again is 800-393-4001. 4001.
The proceeding was paid for by Armstrong Advisory Group, a registered investment advisor. Nothing in the ad or in any Armstrong guide is specific financial, legal, or tax advice. Consult your own financial, tax, and estate planning advisors before making any investment decisions. Armstrong may contact you to offer investment advisory services.
Are you retired like me and you just found out you owe the IRS a ton of money? Well, what would your life be like if they took your retirement savings away from you? They can do it and your property. If you owe the IRS back taxes or you haven't filed in a while, the tax relief line is here to help you. They can stop the IRS from taking your retirement savings. If you qualify, you could have your tax bill reduced to zero. That's right. If you're retired and you owe the IRS a lot in back taxes, you could have your entire tax bill reduced to zero due. The IRS has now hired thousands of new employees, so they're ready to come after you. Don't let them take your retirement savings or property. Make this free call now.
800-251-2153. 800-251-2153. 800-251-2153. That's 800-251-2153.
This is the Money Matters Radio Network, WBNW 1120 AM and W275CM FM, Concord, Boston. The Money Matters Radio Network. The U.S. Virgin Islands is St. Croix, St. Thomas, and St. John. Visit one or all three and enjoy the vacation of a lifetime. Each island is special in its own unique way. So whether you want the heritage of St. Croix, the pristine beaches of St. Thomas, or the calm and relaxation of St. John, the U.S. Virgin Islands is one of the top vacation spots to visit in the Caribbean. You can expect perfect temperatures, a wide variety of water sports, world-class cuisine, and a vibrant nightlife. From the moment you arrive, you'll fall naturally in rhythm with the heartbeat of the islands. There's no money to exchange, and travel from New England could not be easier. Make your plans now by going to visitusvi.com. Learn about all three islands and plan the ideal vacation for you and your family. America's Caribbean paradise is waiting for you. So head to visitusvi.com for more information and to reserve your trip today. That's visitusvi.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
At Consumer Cellular, you get the same exact coverage as the largest carriers, but for up to half the cost. Same thing, up to half the cost. Up to half the cost for the same thing. 50% the money for 100% the same thing. I hope I'm making myself clear. Consumer Cellular. When freedom calls, we're here to answer. Call us at 1-888-FREEDOM.
Half the cost savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single-line 5GB data plan with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single-line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plan offered by T-Mobile and Verizon May 2023.
Early estate planning is crucial if you want to avoid massive tax consequences and protect your assets. Cushing & Dolan are experts in estate planning and taxation, and their new free guide can help you do just that. It's called A Tale of Two Objectives, Reducing Estate Taxes and Increasing Asset Protection. In it, you'll learn how to keep your assets away from the nursing home while reducing and potentially eliminating your estate taxes. You've worked hard to provide for your family, so if you haven't done your planning yet, call Cushing & Dolan today at 866-848-5699 and get this free guide called The Tale of Two Objectives, Reducing Estate Taxes and Increasing Asset Protection. That's 866-848-5699. Or you can request your copy online from our website, LegalExchangeShow.com. That's LegalExchangeShow.com. The proceeding was paid for and the views expressed are solely those of Cushing & Dolan. Cushing & Dolan and or Armstrong Advisory may contact you offering legal or investment services. Cushing & Dolan and Armstrong Advisory do not endorse each other and are not affiliated.
For 40 years, Cancer Support Community has been a relentless ally for anyone impacted by cancer, with free services provided online and in person, with their newest location in Massachusetts. Connect with Cancer Support Community Massachusetts for free emotional support, educational resources, patient navigation, financial counseling, and more. 617-797-3391. CancerSupportMass.org. CancerSupportMass.org.
It happens all over Massachusetts.
Can you
in every home and every community.
Be careful on your bike.
Learning can happen anytime, anywhere.
We'll see you at practice this weekend.
And no matter how learning takes place in your family's life, DESE is there as your partner. The Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. Never stop learning. Find out more at mass.gov/back-to-school.
Sponsored by the Massachusetts Department for Elementary and Secondary Education.
Building a solid financial strategy is a core element to enjoying your retirement years. That's why you need advice that you can count on. At the Armstrong Advisory Group, we understand the challenges of positioning your assets to help you maintain your wealth over time. Our goal is to offer advice that is both suitable and in your best interest. When you hire one of us, you hire all of us so you can be comfortable knowing that every advisor in our firm is dedicated to helping you create a realistic plan for your later years. Visit us today at armstrongadvisory.com and sign up for a free, no-obligation planning session. Click the Get Started button at the top right corner of the homepage, and you can select the day and time that works best for you. Go to armstrongadvisory.com and let us help you secure your financial future. That's armstrongadvisory.com.
The proceeding was paid for by Armstrong Advisory Group, a registered investment advisor. Nothing in the ad or in any Armstrong guide is specific financial, legal, or tax advice. Consult your own financial, tax, and estate planning advisors before making any investment decisions. Armstrong may contact you to offer investment advisory services. The Financial Exchange is produced by Money Matters Radio and is hosted by employees of the Armstrong Advisory Group, a registered investment advisor that provides investment advisory services. All opinions expressed are solely those of the hosts, do not reflect the opinions of Armstrong Advisory or anyone else, and do not guarantee profit. Investments can lose money. This program does not offer any specific financial or investment advice. Please consult your own financial, tax, and estate planning advisors before making any investment decisions. Armstrong and Money Matters Radio do not compensate each other for referrals and are not affiliated. This is the Financial Exchange with Chuck Zodda and Mike Armstrong. Your exclusive look at business and financial news affecting your day, your city, your world. Stay informed and up to date about economic and market trends, plus breaking business news every day. The Financial Exchange is a proud partner of the Disabled American Veterans Department of Massachusetts. Help us support our great American heroes by visiting DAV5K.Boston and making a donation today. The DAV 5K Boston is presented by Veterans Development Corporation. This is the Financial Exchange with Chuck Zodda and Mike Armstrong.
A little bit after 11 o'clock here. It's Chuck, Mike, and Tucker with you on a Thursday. The Dow Jones recovering some of its losses from yesterday, up 239 points. S&P recovering about half of them as well, up 34 points. And the Nasdaq in the same boat, up about 128 points. So about half the losses from yesterday being recovered thus far in equity markets. 10-year U.S. Treasury is down 1 basis point to 3.86%. Oil, West Texas Intermediate, down 64 cents to 73.58. A little bit of a build happening in U.S. stockpiles. Nothing big, but just a little bit there. Also, interesting news today, Mike. Did you see that Angola is going to be dropping out of OPEC?
No.
So does that mean that they're OPEC plus minus Angola?
Yeah. When was the last time we saw a member drop out of OPEC?
I don't know offhand.
It doesn't seem. It does not seem like a common occurrence. They all just say that they're part of it and then cheat on each other.
But they are going to be dropping out, and apparently this was quite surprising to the rest of OPEC Plus. So that's happening. We've got gold up $5.40 an ounce to $2,053.10. And that's what's going on in markets today. Tomorrow, going to get the last inflation report for the month of November, and that is the PCE Personal Consumption Expenditures Report. And well, expectations kind of, again, pretty much in line with what you'd expect. Core PCE expected to come in up 0.2% month over month. We've got headline PCE expected to be flat, obviously, with oil prices having continued to fall through November. That's why you have the divergence there. But this would end up taking core PCE down to about 3.5% on an annual basis and headline PCE down to 3%. If that happens, again, some continued movement in the right direction on the inflation battle for the Fed.
And the reason we're not getting all excited about this one is because you may recall we did receive the Consumer Price Index report a couple of weeks ago that except in rare occurrences, pretty much gives you a very good idea of where this report is going to go in the short term. And for the month of November, according to CPI, all items were up 0.1% with a continued drag from energy, and core prices were up 0.3%. So I don't expect to be surprised in this report. We have a good sense for where this is going. This is the Fed's, quote, preferred measurement of inflation, but nonetheless should likely come in line with what we've already been seeing from other inflation reports.
Actually, sorry, Mike, I was quoting the wrong numbers on this. I was looking at the previous numbers. Core PCE still expected to come in at 0.2%. Headline expected to come in, though, at 0.1%. And
Matching
then
CPI. Yeah.
What's that?
Which would match CPI.
Yes, and then annually expecting core PCE to fall to 3.3 to 3.4, with headline PCE expected to fall to 2.8 to 2.9. So, sorry for giving you all the wrong information. I know it's a big problem. Big problem. Piece in the Wall Street Journal talking about how Americans are spending more this holiday season, but it's not happening on presents. Where are they spending the money instead, Mike?
Gas stations? No, they're spending it on experiences. We're back to the 2019 economy, right? This is what everybody was talking about, is all the toy producers are in trouble because nobody wants toys for their kids anymore. They want to go on vacations or out to dinner or to Taylor Swift concerts, and that was very different over the last 3 years. There were certainly some CEOs at goods companies who thought this was going to be a permanent shift in consumer behavior, and it's not. It's going right back to where it was beforehand, and so therefore you're seeing that show up in some of the data here where retail sales are not moving much, but service sales are moving in an upward direction this year compared to last year.
Mike, I want to dig into something that we talk about as a given all the time, but I'm wondering if it's baloney.
Okay.
I'll quote from here. Financial professionals and economists say that spending money on experiences delivers longer-lasting joy than buying stuff.
Also, what financial professional is out there giving gift-giving advice?
I think there's probably like some psychologists who have said this too, but I'm not sure this is accurate. Yeah. I think ultimately it comes from how much you use said thing and enjoy it. So, as an example, Mike, if for Christmas this year you were to get me
Jelly of the Month Club.
I'm not a jelly fan, exactly. I would be like, man, this is a bad gift. Not because it's stuff, but because it's bad stuff that I don't like.
If instead I got you a Meat of the Month Club.
Which you have before. Well, no, you haven't. I've gotten it for myself.
Yeah.
But
the collective you.
Yes. I would say, wow, what a great gift. I love meat. Please give this to me more often.
Yeah.
And as my wife and I, I've given her a Cheese of the Month Club because we love cheese. And we have great times, eating that cheese together. It's this is a great gift. So, but you can even go back to when you were a kid. And, yes, if someone said, hey, your Christmas gift this year, I'm going to take you to Six Flags, sure, you probably loved riding the roller coasters there. But maybe also really like playing with the Legos they got for a year or two. So I'm just not sure that there's this longer lasting joy from experiences as opposed to things, because ultimately the goal of anything that is gifted, if you have good experiences with the thing, it provides the same benefit. So I know that there's this idea that's kind of gotten popular in the last decade that, experiences are better to give than gifts.
And there's been a consistent theme there. It's the Marie Kondo type thing here, where you don't need so much stuff. Let's focus instead on experiences. I think that's...
I have a different take on it.
Okay.
I think it's easier to give a gift as an experience because you know what sucks. You wouldn't be like, hey, you know what I'm going to give you for Christmas this year? We're going to go and shovel manure. That's an experience too, but it's a bad one. It's easier to be like, no, I got you this concert ticket that I know you like, or this. Whereas with a physical gift, it's a lot easier to give something that someone just doesn't like for one reason.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
So I'll make the case, actually, that physical gifts of stuff as opposed to experiences are actually better when a little bit of thought goes into them.
Okay.
It's just we're all more thoughtless than we used to be.
Okay.
And shame on us.
I have no idea. I have no real opinion on which one is going to deliver the average person more happiness. But I'm very suspect of the idea that there has been any sort of shift meaningfully over generations from gift giving to experience giving in general.
Yeah,
I know that's a
agree.
narrative that everybody tends to talk about, and these millennials, they don't want to buy stuff anymore. They're ruining the toy industry, for example. I'm
No, it's
not
just
sure
my
I buy
daughter
it.
already has 46 stuffed animals. She
Right.
doesn't need another one.
I think that there might be some truth to they don't buy the toys that Hasbro is making because there's been a proliferation of other smaller providers that are having a much easier time selling to the average consumer than they did in the 90s when you could only buy toys at Toys R Us and Walmart. But I'm not sure that I'm buying the idea that they're just buying less stuff in general.
Let's take a quick break. When we return, we're going to be joined by Ted Rossman from Bankrate, talking about the latest credit card debt data right after this.
Text us 617-362-1385 with your comments and questions about today's show. This is the Financial Exchange Radio Network. Veterans Development Corporation is a proud partner of the DAV 5K Boston. Let's meet their CEO, Mark Vonner.
I'm no stranger to the military community. My late uncle, Albert Vonner, served proudly in the 1st Marine Division in World War II and gave the ultimate sacrifice for his country. I am surrounded by a family of disabled veterans, including my father, Victor, and brother, Timothy. I am a veteran, and I have dedicated my business and my life to helping veterans. My company, Veterans Development Corporation, works to help disabled veterans every day, and it's one of the key reasons why I'm such a big supporter of Dan Stack and the Disabled American Veterans Department of Massachusetts. I am so thrilled to be proudly partnered with this year's DAV 5K.
Veterans Development Corporation is proudly partnered with the Disabled American Veterans Department of Massachusetts and the presenting sponsor of the DAV 5K Boston. If you'd like to help our great American heroes by making a donation, visit dav5k.boston. The U.S. Virgin Islands is St. Croix, St. Thomas, and St. John. Visit one or all three and enjoy the vacation of a lifetime. Each island is special in its own unique way. So whether you want the heritage of St. Croix, the pristine beaches of St. Thomas, or the calm and relaxation of St. John, the U.S. Virgin Islands is one of the top vacation spots to visit in the Caribbean. You can expect perfect temperatures, a wide variety of water sports, world-class cuisine, and a vibrant nightlife. From the moment you arrive, you'll fall naturally in rhythm with the heartbeat of the islands. There's no money to exchange, and travel from New England could not be easier. Make your plans now by going to visitusvi.com. Learn about all three islands and plan the ideal vacation for you and your family. America's Caribbean paradise is waiting for you. So head to visitusvi.com for more information and to reserve your trip today. That's visitusvi.com.
This is Tucker Silva of the Financial Exchange, and I'm joined today by estate planning attorney Todd Lutzke from the law firm of Cushing & Dolan with a master's in taxation. And today we're talking about estate tax reduction and asset protection strategies that can help reduce or eliminate your estate taxes. Todd, there are some high net worth clients that would like to reduce the size of their estate, but they don't want to give up access to their assets. Is there anything they can do?
There actually is. Now, we talk about, doing estate tax planning, which I tell you should always do. So even higher net worth clients should put together their basic estate planning. I call that the foundation of their estate plan, of anyone's estate plan. And for higher net worths, to be using, revocable trust. There may be one or there may be two, but you want to put those together first. And that helps us shelter what we can. But to leverage your estate tax exemption that is going to be going down in 2026 to about, $6.5 million indexed for inflation, how do we use it? We can gift it. And if you gift it away, think about what you want to gift, but you can put it into another trust called a gifting trust, a spousal lifetime access trust that allows the spouses each other to enjoy what's in the other one's trust, but you've effectively given away the asset. So all that you've given away plus all the growth will be estate tax free moving forward, and it can even skip a generation from there. So planning is critically important.
The law firm of Cushing & Dolan has been helping families like yours for more than 30 years. Request your copy of Todd's brand new guide. It's called A Tale of Two Objectives, Reducing Estate Tax and Increasing Asset Protection right now by calling 866-848-5699. That's 866-848-5699. Or you can simply request it from their website, legalexchangeshow.com.
The proceeding was paid for and the views expressed are solely those of Cushing & Dolan. Cushing & Dolan and or Armstrong Advisory may contact you offering legal or investment services. Cushing & Armstrong do not endorse each other and are not affiliated. The Financial Exchange is now available on your Alexa smart speaker. Ask to play the Financial Exchange and catch up on anything you might have missed. This is the Financial Exchange Radio Network.
Trivia brought to you by Applebee's. Choose from a variety of half-price late-night appetizers after 9 p.m., including half-price boneless buffalo wings, half-price spinach and artichoke dip, and half-price warm pretzels dipped in beer cheese. Gather with friends any day of the week at Applebee's and say hello to half-price appetizers served late night, because half off is just more fun. Now that's eating good in the neighborhood, void where prohibited. Dine in only. Well, today is Samuel L. Jackson's 75th birthday. 17 years ago, Jackson had a near-death experience while riding on a plane from Honolulu to L.A. Jackson managed to survive the ordeal despite being attacked by multiple animals while thousands of feet in the air. Of course, I'm talking about a movie here, folks. Trivia question today: which animal nearly killed Samuel L. Jackson on an airplane? Once again, which animal nearly killed Samuel L. Jackson on an airplane? Be the, what are we going to do? Seventh person today to text us at 617-362-1385 with the correct answer. And win a Financial Exchange Show t-shirt and be registered to win a $100 gift card to Applebee's. Be sure to include the keyword Applebee's in your text, and we'll give away that Applebee's gift card on tomorrow's show. 617-362-1385, and the seventh correct response will be our winner. See complete contest rules at financialexchangeshow.com.
Ted Rossman from Bankrate joins us now to talk about the latest data we have on credit card debt as we wrap up the holiday shopping season. Ted, thanks for joining us as always. Appreciate it.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
So given the time of year, I'm sure the next words out of your mouth are about how Americans are doing incredibly responsible credit card spending and keeping it well within their budget. Is that right?
Unfortunately, I worry about that holiday debt hangover this year probably more than most, just because inflation's been high, interest rates are up. The average credit card charges a record high 20.74%. Americans have a record amount of credit card debt, unfortunately. And buy now, pay later usage has been surging as well. I think this is kind of a stealthy debt that a lot of people are carrying. Buy now, pay later was up more than 40% year over year on both Black Friday and Cyber Monday, according to Adobe.
Lovely. Well, I know that there is one data point that gets tracked by the Federal Reserve that a lot of folks have pointed to where total credit card debt hit an all-time record, I think over $1 trillion. I've been quick to point out that, that's really just in line with where we were pre-pandemic if you just inflate the amount of credit card debt that was out there. And it also doesn't tell you anything about who's paying it off month to month versus who's carrying it. But your study here seems to get at that exact answer. So tell me what you found in terms of credit card users who are carrying balances month to month, because that's where folks really end up getting hurt.
You're right. The big four.
Oh, no. Seem to have lost Ted temporarily. Ted, are you still there?
It looks like he froze. I'll try and get him back.
Okay, sounds good. We'll try and get Ted back as we go here. But he mentioned the phantom buy now, pay later debt. And I do want to get back to credit card debt if we can get Ted back on the line here. But, Chuck, I know you mentioned that you use the buy now, pay later. I'm wondering if you have continued to see it pop up, if you've continued to use it elsewhere. I am not seeing as many of those advertisements for the likes of Affirm as I saw previously, but to Ted's point, it seems to be getting more ingrained in how we shop these days.
It does. I used it a couple times back in, I want to say it might have been 2020, and I think I used it then just because it was on products where, hey, it was 0% interest for like 6 months. Okay, why wouldn't I split that up at no cost there? The problem is that that's not always how they end up making those offers. A lot of times it's, yeah, a firm has an offer on this, but it's going to be at an interest rate over, the 4 to 6 month period or whatever it is, and so you end up paying more in order to stretch it out. That kind of stuff, isn't ideal in a lot of cases, and I think that the other piece is just, hey, trying to keep track of, how much you're paying on all these. If you start doing a lot of them, I haven't done one in 3-4 years now, but if you have a lot of them that are outstanding, you got to remember which ones you have each month. You got to remember when they end. If you have new ones starting, you got to keep track of that. It's a lot to mentally handle as well, I think.
I distinctly remember the peak dumb buy now, pay later back in 2020. Some publication pointed out that Papa John's was allowing you to do buy now, pay later for a pizza. That's kind of where I look at as maybe the peak dumb usage of buy now, pay later. Now, if they're letting you use zero interest, I suppose who cares? But still, nonetheless, could run into issues. So, Ted, looks like we've got you back.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Not a problem. So, talk to us a little bit. When you got cut off, you were telling us, what portion of Americans seem to be carrying balances month to month.
47% of credit card holders carry debt from month to month, and that's up from 39% 2 years ago. You make a very good point about this total credit card balance figure, that $1 trillion, not distinguishing what's paid in full and what's not. It's basically half and half, and that's the big fork in the road. If you're using credit cards for rewards and convenience, you're doing quite well. On the other hand, if you're among those carrying balances at a record high interest rate, that's what we worry about.
How long are people carrying these balances for? Like, is it, hey, I slipped up one month and was able to pay it back pretty quickly, or are these things, holding on to people for long periods of time?
It becomes a persistent debt cycle, unfortunately. 60% of people with credit card debt have had it at least a year. 2 years ago, that figure was 50%. So it's one of the many figures moving in the wrong direction. The minimum payment math is really brutal. If you have the average credit card balance, which is around $6,000, according to TransUnion, if you make minimum payments at that average interest rate, 20.74%, you're going to be in debt for more than 17 years, and you're going to end up paying more than $9,000 just in interest. So minimum payments are not nearly enough. My favorite tip is to get a 0% balance transfer card and pause that interest clock for up to 21 months. That could be a huge savings.
Ted, how do those work? Do you end up paying something up front to transfer a balance? Are there options where you don't pay anything to transfer a balance to a zero-interest credit card? I've never done it. I'm not 100% certain how they all work. I'm sure they're all a little bit different, too.
You typically pay a 3 to 5% transfer fee. I think that's well worth it, though. Sticking with that $6,000 average example, yeah, maybe you're paying roughly $200 to $300 to move that debt. But if you're disciplined about paying it back, that's where you could save a ton of money. So basically, it's a form of debt consolidation. You take existing debt from one or more cards, put it onto this new card with a 0% promo lasting up to 21 months, like the Wells Fargo Reflect or City Simplicity. Now, it's not a free lunch, of course. Once the term ends, the rate goes way up. So that's part of the business case. I've heard that's about half and half, too, in terms of people who pay it off within the allotted time and those who don't. But if you use one of these to your advantage, it could be a big savings.
Can we blame millennials for this problem? Are there any generational differences that you noticed in your study?
We actually see that Gen Xers are the most likely to have credit card debt. Millennials are not too far behind. Interestingly, even Gen Z is creeping up there. The stereotype has been that young adults don't really want credit cards or can't get credit cards, but they're moving up the ranks pretty quickly in these stats. Buy now, pay later is especially prevalent among young adults. I mentioned before, I think that's kind of a stealthy source of debt because sometimes people don't even view it as debt. I think there's an important clarification here that, yes, you certainly don't want to carry a credit card balance, not at 20% or more, but I think sometimes people trick themselves and they think buy now, pay later is this responsible alternative. And maybe it could be, but maybe it also leads to overspending. As in, oh, it's not a $200 purchase anymore. It's just 4 easy payments of $50. That can stack up. And I do see young adults in particular getting saddled with that.
It's Ted Rossman. He's from Bankrate. He's joining us today to talk about the latest credit card debt survey, which unfortunately, unsurprisingly, finds not only record amounts of credit card debt, but very high numbers of folks that are unable to pay it off month to month. Ted, thanks so much for joining us. Happy holidays, Happy New Year, and we'll catch up in 2024.
Sounds great. Happy holidays.
Let's go ahead and take a quick break here as we head towards the top of the hour. Market's still in the positive.
We are the Debt Destroyer Network. Any debt you have, credit card, tax, student loan debt, call now for free information that helps you destroy your debt. It's great advice. Plus, when you make this free call now, we have Debt Destroyer experts ready to help. They can show you how to destroy your debt and get your life back on track. Debt problems don't have to be overwhelming. You can live stress-free and debt-free. Credit cards, medical bills, IRS tax problems, even student loan debt. Learn about free programs offered by the credit card companies, hospitals, and even the government that can help slash your debt. Call the Debt Destroyer now for free information. Call now. 800-430-8804. 800-430-8804. 800-430-8804. Again, that's 800-430-8804.
The U.S. Virgin Islands is St. Croix, St. Thomas, and St. John. Visit one or all three and enjoy the vacation of a lifetime. Each island is special in its own unique way. So whether you want the heritage of St. Croix, the pristine beaches of St. Thomas, or the calm and relaxation of St. John, the U.S. Virgin Islands is one of the top vacation spots to visit in the Caribbean. You can expect perfect temperatures, a wide variety of water sports, world-class cuisine, and a vibrant nightlife. From the moment you arrive, you'll fall naturally in rhythm with the heartbeat of the islands. There's no money to exchange, and travel from New England could not be easier. Make your plans now by going to visitusvi.com. Learn about all three islands and plan the ideal vacation for you and your family. America's Caribbean paradise is waiting for you. So head to visitusvi.com for more information and to reserve your trip today. That's visitusvi.com.
Financial planning is a year-round job, and with 2023 coming to an end, it's the perfect time to take a hard look at your strategy and what changes you may want to make going forward. Hi, this is Chuck Zodda from the Armstrong Advisory Group. We've written a brand new guide that'll help you understand some key numbers that may affect your planning next year, like marginal tax brackets and retirement account income limits. If you're retired or getting ready to retire, there's also information about how the government taxes your Social Security benefits. Get your copy of this new guide called Key Numbers to Know for 2024 right now by calling 800-393-4001. That's 800-393-4001. You can also request the guide at armstrongadvisory.com.
The proceeding was paid for by Armstrong Advisory Group, a registered investment advisor. Nothing in the ad or in any Armstrong guide is specific financial, legal, or tax advice. Consult your own financial, tax, and estate planning advisors before making any investment decisions. Armstrong may contact you to offer investment advisory services.
This is Tucker Silva of the Financial Exchange, and I'm joined today by estate planning attorney Todd Lutzke from the law firm of Cushing & Dolan with a master's in taxation. And today we're talking about estate tax reduction and asset protection strategies that can help reduce or eliminate your estate taxes. Todd, there are some high net worth clients that would like to reduce the size of their estate, but they don't want to give up access to their assets. Is there anything they can do?
There actually is. Now, we talk about, doing first estate tax planning, which I tell you should always do. So even higher net worth clients should put together their basic estate planning. I call that the foundation of their estate plan, of anyone's estate plan. And for higher net worths, to be using, revocable trust. There may be one or there may be two, but you want to put those together first. And that helps us shelter what we can. But to leverage your estate tax exemption that is going to be going down in 2026 to about, $6.5 million indexed for inflation, how do we use it? we can gift it. And if you gift it away, think about what you want to gift, but you can put it into another trust called a gifting trust, a spousal lifetime access trust that allows the spouses each other to enjoy what's in the other one's trust, but you've effectively given away the asset. So all that you've given away plus all the growth will be estate tax free moving forward, and it can even skip a generation from there. So planning is critically important.
The law firm of Cushing & Dolan has been helping families like yours for more than 30 years. Request your copy of Todd's brand new guide. It's called A Tale of Two Objectives, Reducing Estate Tax and Increasing Asset Protection right now by calling 866-848-5699. That's 866-848-5699. Or you can simply request it from their website, legalexchangeshow.com.
The proceeding was paid for, and the views expressed are solely those of Cushing & Dolan. Cushing & Dolan and/or Armstrong Advisory may contact you offering legal or investment services. Cushing & Armstrong do not endorse each other and are not affiliated. For your chance to win our daily trivia contest, text us at 617-362-1385. Complete rules are available at financialexchangeshow.com. This is the Financial Exchange Radio Network.
You gather your family around and tell them all the ways they have disappointed you over the past year. A new holiday was born, a Festivus for the rest of us.
Ah, yes, now it's time to air our economic grievances of the year.
I got a lot of problems with you people.
All right, Mike and I do have a whole lot of problems with you people.
We didn't really tease this either. It's Surprise Festivus.
Surprise Festivus.
But it's Festivus, the time each year where we get to air our economic grievances and discuss some of the things that disgusted us the most over the course of 2023 from an economic perspective.
Happy Festivus.
Michael, how many are on your list?
I have only got 6 items on my list, Chuck. So I've been racking my brain to try and come up with more because I know you've got dozens.
Oh, only 6. Okay.
I have 25, so I'll let Mike go first and get his 6 out of the way.
I'm going to go all of them?
Yeah, I'd like you to just air all yours. Just that way, if I have some dupes, I can just cross them out.
All right. Well, so the first one on my list, remember California's fast food minimum wage law?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Bad idea.
$20 an hour. It is enacted. Fast food workers in California are looking at a $20 minimum wage. Sorry if you happen to work in childcare where the salary is less than that of now working at a McDonald's restaurant. And this is actually, while a very stupid idea, one that I'm going to thoroughly enjoy watching to just see how screwy it makes the California economy, albeit $20 an hour is not so far away from their overall minimum wage. But terribly stupid idea on the part of California legislature.
What else you got?
We have got a story from Bloomberg back in May.
Oh, come on.
Back in May of how the U.S. consumer is just about to start hitting a wall and pulling back. We had a good 5 or 6 of these stories throughout the year of how the U.S. consumer was running out of savings and they weren't going to be able to spend any money. And as far as I know, the stock market has rallied to close to all-time highs on strong GDP and consumer spending that has continued to defy expectations. A similar one, Jamie Dimon has been telling us that we're going to go into recession since September of last year.
Happy Festivus.
Can we rebrand it from when the boy cried wolf to when Jamie Dimon cried recession?
We can. More obscure one here. We had a judge in Colorado who ordered a welding company to use a check or other conventional method of payment to settle after it tried to deliver 6,500 pounds of coins to a contractor that they refused to pay. I liked that judgment from the judge. They ended up hitting them with a fine, too, because they tried to pay this contractor that, again, they were found guilty of not paying a contractor that they hired, and then to really rub it in the person's face, they tried to pay him all in coins.
Did they fine them the amount of the coins?
Unclear how much they ended up having to pay. It's not in the New York Times article that I had saved. Finally, one of the big ones of the year that has bothered the living hell out of me has been AI washing. If you have no idea what I'm talking about here, this is the idea of companies taking processes or tools that they have used for years and claiming that it's backed by artificial intelligence. There are companies all over that are doing that, a bunch of cheap Indian labor, and created apps for companies that decided to pay them with no artificial intelligence involved whatsoever. This is actually a serious one that the SEC is looking after as well, of companies like they did with going green and just hiring somebody that was in charge of sustainability but not actually doing anything. The same goes for companies that are trying to do the same thing with AI just to boost their stock price.
It's a Festivus miracle.
And my last one of the year, Twitter changing its name to X and also just destroying the app as it was taken over by Elon Musk.
I got a lot of problems with you people.
All right, here we go. I'll kick things off. In January, a Zulily employee was found to have skimmed $300,000 off the top by collecting shipping fees himself in what is compared to the Office Space diversion of funds in a way that he thought the company would never notice. Unfortunately, they noticed. January 15th, the Massachusetts cannabis industry announces, hey, we've got too much weed for everyone. The prices are too low, and some of us might not be able to stay in business. Guys, maybe you shouldn't produce so much. You can't oversupply the drug market. It's kind of a problem if you can't stay in business, which is also hard to do with drugs.
Chuck, you just reminded me of one that needs to be brought up. An ex-Facebook diversity manager pled guilty recently to stealing $4 million from the company.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one, too. Yep.
To fund their lifestyle. Taking kickbacks from contractors.
February 15th. Not to be outdone by Bloomberg last year telling us that we should let our pets die if they get sick. The Wall Street Journal says, hey, if you want to save money, skip breakfast. Gee, isn't that so nice? Isn't that so nice? March 9th, Silicon Valley Bank blew up.
Yeah.
Poor guys. Poor guys. March 28th, Nokia announces that they're going to be putting a 4G cell tower on the moon. I'd like one down the street from me that actually works. Not going to the moon anytime soon. It'd be nice if my phone didn't cut out every time I was driving home.
Who is that for?
They said it's going to be for the moon people. It's the lunar people, I guess. I don't know.
Don't you think they're going to want 5G?
April 3rd, we got two from there. Bloomberg publishes an article about parents paying $750,000 to consultants to get their kids into college instead of just donating the $750,000 to the college.
Oy vey.
Also for the rest of us.
Also on April 3rd, Google announces significant budget cuts, including not allowing employees to use staplers without prior authorization.
You have ping pong tables in every office. The stapler is what you're going after?
What's your Staples budget? Like your literal Staples budget. May 11th, Peloton recalls 2.2 million exercise bikes because there's a problem with the seats that causes them to fall off.
I thought they were eating kids.
No, that was the tread. That was the
okay. That might have been a 2022 story. Sorry.
Yes. June 10th, just a couple years after Nike tried to go all independent and say, hey, we want to go direct to consumer. They've got too much inventory and they have to do an about face and start going back to retailers.
Oops.
It's a Festivus miracle.
Also in June 2nd, Bonnaroo Police asked for a bunch of dancers to disable their iPhones because they keep getting too many false 911 calls because of crash detection going off automatically during dancing.
That's a music festival for those of you who don't know Bonnaroo.
August 4th, in an attempt to get workers to return to the office, Google offers specials on their on-campus hotel to get workers to come back.
Ooh.
You can stay for just $99 a night in our on-campus hotel if you want to come back to the office. Gee, yes, just what I'd like to do, pay to come back to the office.
Pay you to come back to the office specifically.
November 6th. Not enough employees are quitting. Why won't you quit? Just a couple years after it was too hard to hire employees, now why won't you quit? That's from the Wall Street Journal. November 20th.
Happy Festivus.
OpenAI, in a span of 5 days, decides to go through 4 different CEOs, including the same one twice. Golly gee willikers. And then, time for the lightning round, because this year for Festivus, we have a very, very, very special MBTA section. January 27th, the MBTA announces that no orange or red line cars have been delivered in 7 months. Despite the factory being right out in Springfield, they can't get any vehicles because they can't make them. March 9th, MBTA limits the subway speed to 25 miles an hour system-wide because of falsified maintenance records. 4 days later, MBTA warns commuters to plan for longer travel times ahead for the rest of the year. 11 days later, the MBTA releases a slow zone tracker so you can know exactly how much time to plan for the rest of the year. April 3rd, MBTA says that it needs 2,800 workers in the next 12 months to be able to solve all of the staffing backlogs they have. April 24th, MBTA decides, hey, maybe having remote work maintenance managers is not a good thing, and they finally decide to not allow that anymore. August 29th, MBTA outlines a whole bunch of closures over the next month or two on the red line and green line to try to get them up to snuff. Less than a month later, September 26th, MBTA announces that most of the green line extension track has to be relayed because the wrong gauge was used during building over the last 7 to 8 years.
With you people.
November 9th, a couple months later, MBTA announces rolling closures on all lines over the next 14 months to try to deal with the maintenance backlog. And finally, on November 17th, they announced it's going to be $24.5 billion in order to fix all of the maintenance problems on the T, which actually sounds like a decent deal given the cost of the big dig, but it's unclear if $24.5 billion will actually be able to fix the T.
Happy Festivus.
Those are the grievances for 2023. I'm sure we'll have a whole lot more in 2024. We'll take a quick break here. We've got Stack Roulette coming up after this.
You gather your family around and tell them all the ways they have disappointed you over the past year.
If you missed any of today's show, catch up whenever you want on our YouTube page. Find daily show segments and full shows. Just go to youtube.com and search for The Financial Exchange. This is your home for breaking business and financial news. This is the Financial Exchange Radio Network. Early estate planning is crucial if you want to avoid massive tax consequences and protect your assets. Cushing & Dolan are experts in estate planning and taxation, and their new free guide can help you do just that. It's called A Tale of Two Objectives, Reducing Estate Taxes and Increasing Asset Protection. In it, you'll learn how to keep your assets away from the nursing home while reducing and potentially eliminating your estate taxes. You've worked hard to provide for your family, so if you haven't done your planning yet, call Cushing & Dolan today at 866-848-5699 and get this free guide called The Tale of Two Objectives, Reducing Estate Taxes and Increasing Asset Protection. That's 866-848-5699. Or you can request your copy online from our website, LegalExchangeShow.com. That's LegalExchangeShow.com. The proceeding was paid for and the views expressed are solely those of Cushing & Dolan. Cushing & Dolan and or Armstrong Advisory may contact you offering legal or investment services. Cushing & Dolan and Armstrong Advisory do not endorse each other and are not affiliated. Veterans Development Corporation is a proud partner of the DAV 5K Boston. Let's meet their CEO, Mark Vonner.
I'm no stranger to the military community. My late uncle, Albert Vonner, served proudly in the 1st Marine Division in World War II and gave the ultimate sacrifice for his country. I am surrounded by a family of disabled veterans, including my father, Victor, and brother, Timothy. I am a veteran, and I have dedicated my business and my life to helping veterans. My company, Veterans Development Corporation, works to help disabled veterans every day, and it's one of the key reasons why I'm such a big supporter of Dan Stack and the Disabled American Veterans Department of Massachusetts. I am so thrilled to be proudly partnered with this year's DAV 5K.
Veterans Development Corporation is proudly partnered with the Disabled American Veterans Department of Massachusetts and the presenting sponsor of the DAV 5K Boston. If you'd like to help our great American heroes by making a donation, visit DAV5K.Boston. The U.S. Virgin Islands is St. Croix, St. Thomas, and St. John. Visit one or all three and enjoy the vacation of a lifetime. Each island is special in its own unique way. So whether you want the heritage of St. Croix, the pristine beaches of St. Thomas, or the calm and relaxation of St. John, the U.S. Virgin Islands is one of the top vacation spots to visit in the Caribbean. You can expect perfect temperatures, a wide variety of water sports, world-class cuisine, and a vibrant nightlife. From the moment you arrive, you'll fall naturally in rhythm with the heartbeat of the islands. There's no money to exchange, and travel from New England could not be easier. Make your plans now by going to visitusvi.com. Learn about all 3 islands and plan the ideal vacation for you and your family. America's Caribbean paradise is waiting for you. So head to visitusvi.com for more information and to reserve your trip today. That's visitusvi.com.
Building a solid financial strategy is a core element to enjoying your retirement years. That's why you need advice that you can count on. At the Armstrong Advisory Group, we understand the challenges of positioning your assets to help you maintain your wealth over time. Our goal is to offer advice that is both suitable and in your best interest. When you hire one of us, you hire all of us so you can be comfortable knowing that every advisor in our firm is dedicated to helping you create a realistic plan for your later years. Visit us today at armstrongadvisory.com and sign up for a free, no-obligation planning session. Click the Get Started button at the top right corner of the homepage, and you can select the day and time that works best for you. Go to armstrongadvisory.com and let us help you secure your financial future. That's armstrongadvisory.com.
The proceeding was paid for by Armstrong Advisory Group, a registered investment advisor. Nothing in the ad or in any Armstrong guide is specific financial, legal, or tax advice. Consult your own financial, tax, and estate planning advisors before making any investment decisions. Armstrong may contact you to offer investment advisory services. Text us at 617-362-1385 with your comments and questions about today's show, and let us know what you think about the stories we are covering. This is the Financial Exchange Radio Network.
This segment of the Financial Exchange is brought to you in part by the U.S. Virgin Islands Department of Tourism. The cold weather's here, and if you haven't done it yet, now's the time to start planning your winter getaway to the U.S. Virgin Islands. Explore St. Croix, St. Thomas, or St. John and enjoy incredible beaches, world-class dining, and fall naturally in rhythm with the heartbeat of the islands. There's no passport required or money to exchange. Go to visitusvi.com to book your trip today. That's visitusvi.com. Well, we got to pay off our trivia question today, which was, which animal nearly killed Samuel L. Jackson on an airplane? And that was, of course, from a movie. Well, that would be snakes. In 2006, the marketing push for snakes on a plane generated massive internet buzz. However, the internet did not the interest did not translate to box office success. Snakes on a Plane was expected to make over $100 million, but only managed to pull in $62 million at the worldwide box office. Winner today of the Financial Exchange Show t-shirt, Lisa from Brockton, Mass. And Lisa's also registered to win a $100 Applebee's gift card, which we'll give away on Friday's show. And trivia is brought to you by Applebee's. Choose from a variety of half-price late-night appetizers after 9 p.m. because half off is just more fun. Now, that's eating good in the neighborhood. Void where prohibited. Dine in only.
Pretty shockingly, a 69% tomato meter for the Snakes on a Plane movie. That's a fresh tomato.
Is that higher or lower than you thought?
Way higher. I was expecting sub 30% for Snakes on a Plane. Not that I've seen it.
I think it's all context-based.
So in the
like
context
you kind of know what
jokey
you're getting.
Thriller, yeah.
Yeah, it's you know what you're getting with it. You
Yeah.
know, no one's expecting Godfather 2 when they hear Snakes on a Plane.
Likely not.
And for
Likely
those
not.
who were,
shame on you.
Shame on you. What do you got for Stack Roulette, Mike?
Do you want Mark Zuckerberg snooping in your closet? Asks
No.
Parmy Olson from Bloomberg. And a silly question that I think will be defining in the next few years in terms of what we are willing to give to artificial intelligence. I still think it's a new enough technology that people aren't going to understand the potential ramifications and downsides to it, like we probably didn't on the early stages of social media. And to this point, I think artificial intelligence has largely been kept, for a few people that want to try out ChatGPT and a few companies that have attempted to experiment with things in a pretty off-the-shelf area. But over the next few years, the argument is that there's going to be a lot more in the way of retail devices for American consumers that utilize artificial intelligence in one way or another. The most recent one is a product known as Tab that you wear around your neck and will listen in on all of your conversations and give you feedback about how you could improve yourself in the new year. So if you're looking to make some personal improvements to the way in which you speak or the way in which you fumble over words like I do, then this might be the perfect product for you that also probably sells all the data to advertising companies so that they can better target you for what you need, like speech therapy.
Sounds lovely, just not dystopian at all.
Right. Yeah, you've got a computer giving you feedback on how to be a better human being. That sounds good.
How come I can't give the computer feedback on how to be a better computer?
You can. It just doesn't listen.
Oh. I want to talk about South Korea. They have announced a task force. Couple things. So they're doing two things. First, they have announced a task force to monitor price fluctuations on products to see, what inflation actually looks like on a micro level. But beyond there, they're going to require companies to disclose on their packaging at grocery stores when grocery items drop in volume but not price. This, I think, is actually kind of interesting because do you ever get a box of cereal and you're like, it feels like this was bigger when I was a kid, but maybe I was just smaller?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
it's a potato chip bag, right? That's a classic example.
But I think policing shrinkflation, or at least like giving people the idea of, hey, yes, this is still $5.99, but now you're getting 6 Oreos instead of 8, would be interesting. Just as an example, talking about weird things that are probably shrinkflation related. A couple of weeks ago, I was having some people over. Wanted to go buy some pre-made apps because I was like, you know what? I'm not doing it myself. Go to the freezer section of the grocery store.
Bagel bites, right?
Mozzarella sticks. They came in packs of 7.
7?
That's a strange quantity.
7. Which all I can think of is they probably started in packs of 8, and to keep the price the same, they got rid of 1.
Give me a round number.
But it's like, what do I do with 7 mozzarella sticks? How many of these do I need? I was told there would be no math.
So I'm also confused as to how this works. Like, is there a time period here where I must have it on my box for a year after I shrink the size of my product? Or, is my child Billy 30 years from now still going to be seeing what the quantity was in the mozzarella sticks from when I was a kid?
Well, and the part that's also tough about this, and why I don't think this is going to work, but it's an interesting concept. Hey, look, it's just you're never going to be able to keep up with all this. But, okay, on the Mott Stick side of things, but what if they come out with a 5-pack? Is that the same product, or is that a new product launch? What if you have an 8 and a 4? I mean, how do you determine what's truly a shift in package size and what is just, hey, we had consumer demand at a smaller size?
Well, the annoying part is you probably had to buy 2 boxes, right?
Of course I did.
Yeah, 7 mozzarella sticks? I can do that.
Sticks?
I can
what are
put
you gonna do
those
with
down.
That? But here's the question, Tucker. Could you eat 7 string cheeses undeep fried?
Yes. Not even a question.
Would you, though?
No, because that would be backed up for a week.
I think that this is, while interesting and fun to complain about, an area that government has little business being.
You can't actually deal with.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, sorry, consumer, it's confusing, as are price fluctuations, because you're not going to have the price from the object from 3 months ago readily at your fingertips either. You kind of have to deal with it. If it seems too expensive for what you're getting, then go elsewhere and read what you're getting. It's on you.
Unless you're flying on an airline, then you have nowhere else to go because there's so few airlines and they all have very small seat pitches now for those who are taller than me.
True.
So there's that. Taking a look at markets, the Dow's up 181, the S&P's up 29, the Nasdaq up 122, so some green on the board after a tough day yesterday. We're done for the day. Back at it tomorrow to wrap up the week before the Christmas holiday.